Lincoln City continued their push for the treble on Saturday with a win at Welling. We'll look back at that match and look ahead to Saturday's league match against Woking, where the Imps will be hoping to extend their lead at the top of the National League. We'll also discuss Lincoln United's return to form after their win at the weekend, and that's all to come on the Link Sports Show. Good evening, I'm Kieran Hymas, and joining me in the studio today are Link Sport reporters Liam Gibbs and James Williams. We said it last week and we may as well say it again, the treble is still on for Lincoln City. Saturday's 3-1 win at Welling took the Imps into the last 8 of the FA Trophy and brought a trip to Wembley another step closer. James, you were there, what did you think of the game?
It was a very good performance from Lincoln, I thought, considering Danny Cowley made 8 changes to his side and didn't have a recognised left-back playing. Terry Hawkridge was left-back. I thought Lincoln coped very well and performed admirably. They did a very professional job. I mean, to be 3-0 up at Welling with 50 minutes gone, Danny Cowley would have snapped your hand off. I know Welling went on to score a late consolation, but a very, very professional job by Lincoln.
And Liam, you don't think the goal would have been something that Cowley would have been a bit disappointed with?
Well, you always want a clean sheet, you don't always strive for perfection, don't you? But ultimately, I think, as James said, 3-0 up after 50 minutes, they were in cruise control of the time and into the last 8 now.
The new signings were very, very impressive as well. Josh Giannelli on that left wing, he's just caused so many problems coming in. He should have had a couple himself. I know Joe Ward, who's on loan from Brighton, got a couple, but actually Josh Giannelli had a few great chances in that first half and caused the Welling defence so many problems. And then there was Dale Southwell with a goal on his debut. Danny Cowley will be delighted with that, and hopefully Southwell can go on and add another couple of goals, starting with Woking on Saturday.
Loan signings seem to be settling in really quickly, which I think is helping massively.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing that I noticed, that this was a team that has never played together before, as in there were different parts of it that just barely get any game time, yet they all seemed so sharp and so together, and they were gelling. And that surprised me, but in a good way. And that was really, really encouraging going forward.
And they've drawn Boreham Wood for the next round. Quite a challenging tie, do you think?
I mean, considering there are teams left in that competition that were in lower leagues than Lincoln, you'd have always wanted to have drawn them. And another away tie, they've been away in every round of this competition, which is a bit frustrating as well. It would have been great to have a quarter-final at Sincil Bank. Away at Boreham Wood, not the easiest place to go, so I expect Lincoln to come through it, but Danny Cowley may have to play a stronger team than maybe he'd have wished in that tie, I think.
I think once you get to the last 8 as well, you're always going to come up against good sides. As James said, of course you want a lower league side, particularly if you could get a home draw. They would have liked that in front of another decent crowd at the Bank, but yeah, they're all tough ties once you get to this stage.
I think also that week goes Burnley at the start of the week on Saturday the 18th, then midweek North Ferriby United, and then into Boreham Wood. 3 away games, 3 important and big away games for all different reasons. You know, that week could have a big mark on the rest of Lincoln City's season, really. They're most likely going to go out the FA Cup, then a big league match in the week against local rivals, then the trophy. Danny Cowley will be hoping they can at least beat Boreham Wood and North Ferriby, and with Burnley, well, you never know.
And I know you just said that you think they're going to get knocked out of the FA Cup, and I'm not a betting man, but are neither of you thinking they could do the treble here?
The treble? Well, it is still on, isn't it? But it's a huge ask in it to go to Burnley, so especially given Burnley's home form. It'd be interesting to see what sort of side Sean Dyche puts out, actually.
I think Sean Dyche will put a strong side out. I know we'll talk about this more next week, but I think he will put a strong side out. I don't see why Burnley wouldn't go for it, but Danny Cowley's focus, of course, is on this weekend first.
And even getting to that would be a fantastic achievement. The focus turns back to the league now, with Woking the visitors to Sincil Bank on Saturday. And after the squad players performed so well, Imps manager Danny Cowley admits that he's got a selection headache again ahead of this weekend's match.
It's definitely the strongest squad that I've had. It's definitely the squad with the most depth that I've had. Obviously, having done well in in the FA Cup has given us the opportunity to bring 2 or 3 additional players in, which we need, because obviously the success in the FA Cup has meant that we've now got a lot more games than we initially expected to have. So no, it's worked in that respect, but definitely obviously a headache going into Saturday in terms of team selection, because we've got a lot that are putting their hands up.
However, defender Sam Habergam says that competition for places is a good thing.
I think competition for places all throughout the team is only a positive thing. It's only going to push everyone to their top levels, and we need that, and we're going to need bodies throughout the rest of the season with the amount of games we've got coming up. I think it's about 20 games left in the space of about 10 weeks now, so it's going to be a lot of Saturday, Tuesdays, and we're going to need everyone, not just the bare 11.
The Imps won the reverse fixture against Woking 3-1 on the opening day of the season, with the debut goal for Adam Marriott and a Matt Reed brace. City have had a full week of training ahead of Saturday's match, and Cowley says that it's been a great week.
We're pleased to have the Saturday game and the 5-day preparation. We have the same next week, which is great for us because it's given us the opportunity to get back on the training pitch and continue to try to move the group forward and move our method and processes forward. So no, we've enjoyed the week's training, and we're all ready to go for Woking on Saturday.
Woking are fighting to today avoid relegation from the National League, but have won 2 of their last 3 games. Lincoln, meanwhile, are 3 points clear at the top of the league and haven't lost at Sincil Bank since August. Now, they have got an amazing home record. They definitely made the bank a fortress. Do you think that they're going to continue doing this, or do you think they might slip up?
Well, of course, I'm sure Danny Cowley has made his side aware that Woking are in a relegation battle. They need the 3 points just as much as Lincoln. I can't see Lincoln slipping up, however. The form they're in, the confidence that the side's got, and the depth of that squad now, proven by the victory at Welling last week. Danny Cowley's got game changers on the bench. I
think every team comes with a different game plan and with different personnel, with different styles, and we have to be planned and prepared to beat what's in front of us. You know, we never criticise anybody else's style. Everybody has to do what they have to do to get results. So whatever's in front of us, we've got to be good enough to be able to outwit and overcome, and that's what we are preparing and trying to do. We're respectful of Woking. They've got lots of good individuals, some really good individuals, some real pace about them. They've got goals in their team, 2 good forwards, experienced midfield players that have played in the league, pace in wide areas. So no, we're very respectful of Woking. They've been competitive in this division for a number of years now. We know we'll have to be at our very best if we want to get on the right side of it.
And in the last game, some of the first team players have had a little bit of a rest. Do you think that that'll come into play in the next game? Do you think it'll give them an advantage?
I don't know about an advantage, because I think Woking have had, their game was called off last weekend, so I think they've had a rest as well. But for Lincoln, it was definitely important to get some of those first team players fit again, because there was a few knocks around the likes of Sam Habergam and Nathan Arnold. They'd almost been struggling their way through the last couple of weeks. So giving them time to have a rest, and as Danny Cowley said, away from the squad and just away from football for a week or so, I think has been good. And they've had time to reset and recharge the batteries to go again, which for an important few weeks, which as we've already said.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, because they played so much football from the start of December almost until last week, it becomes so easy for people to get jaded, people to pick up little knocks and little niggles like Habergam and Arnold had. So it just gives them a week off, a week to recover, and hopefully they can come back fit and refreshed and ready to go on Saturday.
Well, yeah, and we turn to our attention to Lincoln United now, who got their first win of 2017 with a 3-1 win at Chasetown. Connor Robinson's first goal for the Whites and a Jack McGovern brace helped the Whites climb to 16th in the Evo Stick First Division South and put an end to any relegation worries. So, a good win, guys. It was one that was well needed. Much needed for them, yeah. They've been really struggling over the Christmas period and at the start of this year. But maybe things are just starting to click again now, and the new signings are just starting to bed in. And it was a really good win for them at Chasetown. Not an easy place to go, but they've done the double over Chasetown now this season, and things are perhaps looking up.
Yeah, no, definitely a good away win. It was one that maybe I wasn't expecting, considering the form that Lincoln United were on. You know, even at home they've been conceding goals, but it seems that Sam Wilkinson's gone back to that back two of Jacqueline and Wright, which did so well last season, and then Callum Ward at left back, Luke Hornsey, just secure across that back line, and then Jack McGovern and Connor Robinson finally finding some form up front and a sort of relationship up front as well. They seem to have found that now. Can they go forward now and take this forward into the weekend? I think it's Market Drayton on Saturday at Ashby Avenue. We'll have to wait and see, but from the highlights we've seen of the match as well, they seem to be looking like the sides that we know that got to the playoffs last year and that has performed well at times this year.
And Hemppenstall on the bench, obviously, it's something that we talked about quite a lot, having a good bit of form earlier on in the season. Do you think McGovern and Robinson coming in, that's really forced him out? And to have a striker like that on the bench now to kind of fight for his place, that's a good thing for him?
Well, I think McGovern coming back, first of all, is a real boost for Sam Wilkinson. But Hemppenstall has played a lot of football, is another one who's played a lot of football, like Lincoln City. And having just come back earlier this season from a long spell out, probably just needed a bit of a rest. I've read a few comments that saying he was just looking a bit jaded, just looking a bit tired and perhaps lacking a bit of form because of that. So yeah, just to give him a bit of a spell on the bench, maybe he can come on as an impact player because he's still got a lot of quality, Hemppenstall.
Well, yeah, we've seen his quality this season, and I think if he does find some sort of form again, to have him, Jack McGovern and Connor Robinson as three forwards at the club, they're three forwards which probably should be playing in a league higher.
Yeah.
So that's real quality up front, and quality that if Lincoln United keep hold of going into next year, where really I think Sam Wilkinson probably will be beginning to turn his attentions to, because they're not really going to make the playoffs this year. They do well to make the playoffs. They're not going to go down, I don't think, either. So attentions will now be turned into next year, and keep those three. They could go far next year, Lincoln United. And
they've ended that run of defeats now, but they've got to continue it. Do you think that Market Drayton is one of those ones that they can win?
I think so. Market Drayton 18th in the league, not in the best form themselves, so it's certainly winnable, especially at home. Last season, Lincoln United would have been winning that sort of a game, so I expect now that they've got to win, they've ended the run's over, they can move on from that. Every team has a dip in the season. It's just unfortunate kind of how long it went on for, but now they can kick on, and I expect them to get 3 points against Market Drayton.
Yeah, I think the important thing is they've just got to stop conceding silly goals. I know they won on Saturday, but the goal they conceded was very poor.
Yeah,
just allowing Liam Holt to just run unchallenged, basically, and shoot from the edge of the box. It wasn't a good goal to concede, and they need to shut that out, because in games where they aren't creating as many chances, you need to rely on your back four just to keep the goals out, and then they can go and nick one on the break and win 1-0, which they haven't been doing an awful lot of late.
And I'm sure Sam will be hoping that they can beat Market Drayton. In the last couple of hours, the MPs have passed a motion of no confidence in the FA. Parliament has been debating whether the Football Association has the ability to reform itself following scrutiny over the lack of change in recent years. Sports Minister Tracy Crouch has said the FA could lose £30 to £40 million of public funding if it fails to modernise. Is the FA something that needs to be reformed?
It's the $1 million question, isn't it? The FA, it's one which is very difficult to get your head around, very difficult to try and understand what is going on there. Certainly, I think the FA needs to wrestle back some sort of control from the Premier League, and the Premier League has a lot of control over English football at the moment. And I think that's one thing which MPs were highlighting in the debate. I saw a brief bit of the debate today, and that's one thing they were highlighting. How the MPs, now that they've made this vote of no confidence, how they then plan to implement some sort of control over the Premier League is yet really to be seen and known. So it's all well and good voting this, and I understand the reasons why it has been done, because there's not been a lot of reform and change in the FA that has been promised. But what's Parliament going to do about it now? We need answers instead of votes of no confidence. Answers are needed, I think.
Yeah, the thing is, as James mentioned, how do you wrestle back that control from the Premier League? Because it is the all-powerful body in football at the moment, and it should be the FA as the national governing body, but it seems that the Premier League have got far more power.
And do you think that that's causing a grassroots issue? Do you think that they need more representation rather than people that have been in the Premier League, people that are supporting predominantly the Football League and the Premier League?
Well, the money that is in the Premier League has, and the percentage of that gets down to grassroots football can't be much, considering the money that is in the Premier League with TV rights and everything. the money that's then seen in grassroots football doesn't balance up. But that's where I think the FA need to step in and have some sort of rule, law, whatever, where the Premier League has to give a certain amount of what it raises and what it owns to grassroots football. But that's where the problem lies. There isn't really that working relationship between the Premier League and the FA. It just seems to me that the Premier League can run rings around the FA.
Yeah, there's the balance of funds is completely disproportionate between the Premier League and virtually the Premier League and everyone else, but certainly between the Premier League and once you get down to grassroots. And you see, it happens every winter. You look at the pictures of state of grassroots pitches, and there just needs to be some money that goes down to that level just to improve pitches mainly, because fundamentally, if you've got kids going out and playing in mud baths every week, they aren't going to get better. They aren't going to get better. They're not going to learn how to play it along the deck, and that is the fundamental issue here.
And it's definitely something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. That is all that we've got time for today, unfortunately, but thanks to James and Liam for joining me. You can follow us on Twitter at LinkSport to see if Lincoln City and Lincoln United can get 3 points again this weekend, and we'll be back again next week. Goodbye.
Everyone else, but certainly between the Premier League and once you get down to grassroots. And you see, it happens every winter. You look at the pictures of state of grassroots pitches, and there just needs to be some money that goes down to that level just to improve pitches mainly, because fundamentally, if you've got kids going out and playing in mud baths every week, they aren't going to get better. They aren't going to get better. They're not going to learn how to play it along the deck, and that is the fundamental issue here.
And it's definitely something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. That is all that we've got time for today, unfortunately, but thanks to James and Liam for joining me. You can follow us on Twitter at LinkSport to see if Lincoln City and Lincoln United can get 3 points again this weekend, and we'll be back again next week. Goodbye.